I'm Katie.
I'm Kylie.
And this is
You Are Not Paranoid. I should have this ready and on standby.
We're ready to record for the new year. Oh my god, I'm so nervous. It's like, oh, you're not on the TikToks. The one TikTok where it's like, are you new here? Have you seen that one?
No. But it sounds like reminiscent of
It's like the one person will ask, like, are you new here? And then the other person will be like kind of nervously like, yeah. And then they're like, the original person like just does an attitude like, and then like flips their hair and like walks away.
Yeah. Sounds like Mean Girls.
Is it?
That's like, wait.
I've seen it.
Thank goodness. I was a little bit scared. I was like, we have to stop this if you have not. Wait, should we like
rewind?
Hi.
Hello, welcome to our visual and auditory people. Right?
Us people.
Mm-hmm. To us people who are listening or watching.
Oh, to us people is what I meant. But yes, the people on the other side who are listening through to us.
Like spirits?
No, like our listeners.
Oh.
They're listening.
Okay.
Maybe
well, we
spirits.
said from the other side.
The other side of the
microphones?
Uh-huh.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Of the applications or the screen. We're breaking the fourth wall, as they say. Hello.
Don't look at them.
That makes them uncomfortable. I will say when we look at ourselves and watch ourselves back, and I'm like looking at myself, it makes me like, okay, don't look at me. You know what I'm saying?
I do that a lot in Zoom work meetings.
Mm-hmm. Where you just look at yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like having my video on because then I'm just like, what do I look like?
Yeah.
What do I look like?
I'm like, everyone's looking. But probably no one's looking.
But yeah, everyone's like on a different screen, like checking
looking
stuff.
at themselves.
Yeah. I have coworkers who will forget to mute, and then you just hear them typing the whole time during the meeting. You're like, you're clearly not paying attention.
I know. Well, it's like for our work, you can tell because people usually have multiple screens.
Yeah.
And so they're like laptop like videos here, and then they're just like looking up in a way. Like, oh, you're really paying attention.
Present. You're present, but not present.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, technically, they could have like moved the Zoom up onto that screen, but
it's a little awkward for sure.
Yeah,
people need to be more self-aware. Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, it's only been like 2 years. So.
Yeah, you think that the Zoomies are set? Apparently
the Zoomie
not.
etiquette.
Yeah, there are blogs for this now.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like interview/Zoom etiquette. I've seen that before, like on different, like on LinkedIn or something. It's kind of funny the things that there's like WikiHows for now. Because I feel like when we were kids, it was like for things that only adults knew. But now that time has progressed and adults like our parents are now more tech savvy. It's like the WikiHows are more geared towards how to do the things we already know how to do. So we're like, this is ridiculous. But then they'll be like, this is helpful. It's flip-flopped.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So I looked up WikiHow how to podcast.
Did you really? No. Oh. Some of them are very interesting.
Yeah.
Like some of the things that it explains to do.
Pretty sure anyone can make one based on what I've read.
Yeah.
No, not a podcast. The WikiHow.
Okay. I was gonna say podcasting doesn't have to be that hard.
Like Anchor, a place where you can make your podcast.
Did you know that Anchor? No, you'll hear that later.
Yeah. Or at the beginning. I was gonna say, by the way, you can scroll through that if you like come across an ad just ahead. You
can also listen to it.
Or you can listen to it. So hi, this is
Hello.
Kylie.
And I'm Katie.
And
we said it. Yeah. Sometimes though on the YouTube one, I forget to put the intro. So it kind of just goes for it.
Yeah, it's like
they'll figure it out.
They're like, what's happening? Like, oh, keep up. You'll find out. And now you know.
Yeah. If you want to put the voices to the faces,
you're welcome.
I usually do not get it right when I listen to podcasts.
Oh, I thought you meant for us. I was like, what?
Who am I?
Yeah. No, you're Katie.
Oh. Oop.
We're a little nervous. We haven't been in person.
Yeah, this is our first in-person recording since last year.
Yeah.
Like a long time last year because
like
we took a break.
Time. I got married. That was cool. Katie was there. I didn't get married to Katie. I don't
know. I don't know why we always have to explain that.
I think it's more fun and unnecessary, which makes it even more fun. I like to say it. But there's our photo from my wedding to my husband, who's not Katie.
Maybe I can zoom in on it later. Sure. I'd like to get better at video editing. It's fun.
Yeah.
There's more pictures of us.
Uh-oh. Aranoid.
Oh, no.
There it is.
It's a P.
Oh, my goodness. But yeah. So we're doing it again. I'm so excited.
So we're doing this.
Yeah, in person. And apologies for a couple last episodes, remote recording. Did not know my microphone was going to be lower.
That's fine.
I know, but I'm just saying to the people and you.
Thank you. I accept your apology.
Yeah. So we've since synced up, and well, we should be good to go moving forward in person
and in our beds,
separate beds
for now.
Oh my goodness! Until
we're pending our OnlyFans.
Oh my God! Just stop. Our account is loading. We haven't been approved yet. We're looking for that blue check mark. Yeah. I don't know if that's still a thing.
I think so.
I don't know if OnlyFans does. I don't go on there, so I'm not a fan of OnlyFans.
I'm not only a fan, so I can't go on there.
Right.
I'm other things.
Right. We should make a website called Other Things. And it's just like that. Everything but the stuff that you find on OnlyFans.
Okay.
For like actual creators. Like jugglers.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just the thing. Like everything just turns to sex.
Yeah. We can make it so there's an anti-sex platform.
Yeah, we repress ourselves.
Not a religious-based thing, just a clean only.
Okay.
Keep it spotless. Which is kind of funny because in an episode, which may be in the future, I have something that's about that. Not that, but like about being spotless. So it's kind of funny.
Oh.
Yeah, interesting. Anyways, I'm so excited.
Me too.
To record.
We're recording.
And being back in person. It's so fun. Yeah. And then we get to see us and we get to imagine you. So that's cool. Yeah. We're glitching.
Glitch.
Just kidding.
Matrix.
That would be a good podcast, I feel like the Glitch Bitch or something.
And it would be about
like a movie.
Sci-fi?
Yeah. She's like rude and she glitches a lot. I don't know where I was going with that.
Okay, that's fine.
That was too literal. It would have to be something bigger, but we just call her the Glitch Bitch.
Okay. We'll workshop it.
For sure. Later.
Yeah. And now.
And here we go.
Her background.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, stop. So good. Okay. Here we are. Oh man, this is so scary.
Yeah, we're doing if you listen to our earlier episodes, you would have had a little sneaking suspicion about what we were going to talk about.
Yep. We like to
keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, if you will. And instead of always talking about everything in the podcast that comes up and then only giving it a little bit of attention, we're like, hey man, /us, why don't we extend this out a little bit and actually give like make it its own episode instead of just trying to fit it into something that's not part of it.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Work smarter, not harder.
Correct. And it gives you more of what you want, which is what we want.
Indeed.
And we want what we want. So here we are.
I'm sure that checks out.
Yeah, it all works out.
It works out in the end.
So this the point is the episodes we're talking about have been referred to possibly in previous episodes.
Some may say Easter eggs.
Ooh, it's not even Easter yet.
Not yet.
but we get to enjoy the benefits
of our eggs.
Of our eggs that we planted ourselves for our future selves. Perfect.
Yep. There you
Easy. Go. Yeah. And then there's some Easter eggs in here too that I'm like, ooh, this could be a good future episode. So
I'm
excited. Just keep it going.
Yeah, we also have a couple Instagram follower episode ideas.
Really? Yeah. Thanks, followers.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. And if you have other ideas, you can email us or check our Instagram bio for all of the ways to contact us.
Correct. Our email is you'renotparanoid@gmail.com.
Or you can leave us a voice message and we can play it on the episode.
Yeah. Or you can contact us at you'renotparanoid.com.
Mm-hmm. So
there you go.
Dealer's choice on that.
100%.
But we would love to hear from you.
Yeah. We appreciate you.
Indeed.
And now you'd love to hear from us. So let's do this.
Nice. I like that.
Thanks. So what are we talking about, Katie?
Today, we are talking about people getting released from prison. Bad people, like murderers.
Yeah.
From back in the day.
Yeah. And I feel like this came up. I forgot what we were saying exactly, but I personally don't really think about people getting out of jail or prison. Mm-hmm. I kind of just am like, yes, they're gone. And then you forget that, wait, they get released because it's not every person who commits a crime is a life sentence. Mm-hmm. They can't do that, right? Because then there'd be overpopulation at prison.
Well, yeah.
Which there already is. Mm-hmm.
And also, disclaimer, I think we're talking about more serious crimes.
Yes.
But that is a small portion of the overall population of prisoners.
Right. And I actually have we didn't coordinate perfectly, which is so exciting, but I have some statistics.
Ooh, because I don't.
Which is isn't that fun how that works? Yeah. When we don't plan it, we just like fill in our own gaps.
Yeah, so I think we're
linked.
Yeah.
We're
brainily.
That
doesn't sound good.
I don't like that. Let's
delete.
Undo.
Our minds are synced.
Yeah.
Is that what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Synced, linked, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Locked and loaded.
Pew pew.
Ready to share.
Okay.
Yeah. So, oh man. What do you got?
I just kind of have some stories.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I don't.
Oh,
I have some
oh my gosh, this is gonna be perfect.
Right? I have some like bigger picture kind of stuff. Because I was gonna say I found like a list of serial killers who have since been released from prison. I know. From ranker.com. Okay. Love that website.
I saw some of those lists, and so maybe one of my stories might be one.
Yeah.
But I have 3 little stories. One person did actually get, and then the other ones are kind of like not
cool.
Yeah.
Well, not cool, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I just kind of have like general observations about what's going on.
Okay.
So if you want, I can like say that, or you can tell a story, and then I could be like, yeah, that checks out.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Story time.
Okay.
Get us going.
All right. So, I mean, maybe I'll do my first story last because it's not quite the same.
Okay.
Because when I was Googling this, a lot of stuff that came up first were unsolved serial killings. Mm-hmm. So one I did kind of go into a little bit because it was interesting.
Yeah.
But I will go into a scenario where people are getting released. Mm-hmm. This is an article from the Boston Globe. Were you talking about that? Massachusetts medical parole.
Oh, I know which one this is. I didn't talk about it, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I think it was on this list.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should I do it?
Yes.
Okay. So the article is entitled 21 First-Degree Murderers Set Free Under State's New Compassionate Release Law.
Oh, yeah.
This is by Shelley Murphy and Andrea Estes.
Isn't this talking about California's release?
Mm-mm.
Okay, never mind.
This is Pacific to Massachusetts.
Cool.
So these were life without parole sentences, and they were released under the new medical parole law in Massachusetts, which, interestingly enough, Massachusetts was only one of 5 states left that hadn't had some sort of medical parole law on the books. So this occurred in 2018. And so this article was written in March of 2021, so last year. So it said in the 3 years since the law was in place, 47 of 400 applications for the medical parole have received it. And most of them were released because of COVID, because COVID was kind of rampant in the prisons. This law allows prisoners, regardless of the crime, to petition release if diagnosed by a physician as terminally ill with a life expectancy of less than 18 months or so incapacitated permanently that they are no longer a threat to the public. And so, I mean, this is an interesting article and we can link it. It has like family of the victims speaking about it and their lawyers, and it's obviously upsetting for them. And there was also someone from the Massachusetts state legislator, I believe, who was talking about it. And he was basically saying this is kind of like not what it was meant to be. And so he kind of proposed like an amendment to this law that would exclude first-degree murderers from medical parole unless they were younger than 18 when they were first convicted. And advocates for the prisoners say it's basically letting dying prisoners like just die, like not in prison.
Isn't that kind of the point though?
Yes. So one criticism of the law is that granting the medical parole is decided only by one person.
Ooh.
So that's the kind of part that I thought was suspicious.
That is suspicious.
The Department of Corrections commissioner is the sole person that can decide if someone can have medical parole, which in general, parole is decided by a board of people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of,
fishy.
Yeah, because I just feel like corruption, like, I don't know. You could just
like someone signs like all it takes is a doctor and that person to be like, okay, bye-bye.
So it says, however, the parole board can order prisoners back to prison if they are recovered from their illness or whatever.
That would be so sad. I mean, it's it's like no good either way. Yeah. It's a lose-lose.
So yeah, I think like it was meant, I get the idea of it because I think it was meant for maybe people of lesser crimes that like if they happen to be in prison and that something happened to them, they could at least die in like a hospital or like their family's house or something.
Yeah.
But that is not the case.
I'm kind of surprised there's not such thing as like prison hospice.
Yeah.
Maybe there is and we just don't know, but based on that, it seems like there's not.
No. So the other thing that people have an issue with this law is that prosecutors have no authority to get these recovered prisoners back to prison. It's up to the parole board to like request them back. So that means they also have to keep tabs on them. So theoretically, you could live out the rest of your days free if you are granted medical parole and recover. Because like it's only one person that can grant it to you. And then it's up to the parole board or the commissioner to check and make sure you're fine. Because there was an example in this article about like some lobbyist or someone who now works for the government who got medically paroled after getting cancer and and recovered. And so now they're free. So I think it's kind of like, like I don't know if I'm assuming he was not a murderer.
Right.
So I don't know. It's kind of, I can see both things. Sometimes you get sent to prison for like bullshit crimes or like things, But so let's see. So I think what the article was saying too is I think the unintended consequence or like what they didn't really think about this law is that the people who are serving life sentences and who are getting like cancers and terminally ill and sick are going to be the people that have committed more serious crimes because you don't get life sentences for not. Right. You know what I mean? So
yeah, so it kind of like
so it kind of like I think they didn't think that through, and that's why that one guy was trying to add the loophole is like more often than not your first degree murderers are going to be the ones dying in prison.
Yeah. Plus they say too, I wonder if there's like links between Have you heard that before? Where people who commit serious crimes tend to get, or it seems like get like serious illnesses for like the guilt. Like they say like that the guilt like literally
kills them.
The stress is like the most deadly thing in the U.S. besides like heart disease and probably lung cancer. That like gets to them, and so they die. A lot of them die of cancer because of that.
Oh, that's interesting. So I hadn't heard of that.
Oh, that's what I heard. Who knows if it's accurate? But that would kind of make sense.
Yeah. So,
wow,
that's Massachusetts law. You could go into the whole topic about like sentencing reform, like criminal justice, who gets sentenced longer, who doesn't.
Yeah.
But just in general, they were observing that during COVID, a lot of first-degree murderers were applying and getting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess 21.
Like old. But. Yeah. From a long time ago. Did you hear about the California one? There was like 76,000 prisoners released last year.
Really?
Yeah. From all same kind of things, all walks of life. I didn't do that because I wasn't sure if you might have done it. But yeah, so for COVID concerns. And they were like releasing them, and they all had different like varying degrees also of crimes.
So that's where I think
some were slipping through, and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, because like I think it's unfair that people on like weed charges are still in jail. But if you killed someone,
maybe not. Yeah.
You know? So
it's very, very strange. Like every county's judge and jurisdiction, like it's like,
oh, you have COVID and you killed someone, here you go.
Well, we don't want you to die, so we're gonna release you.
You could kill people just because of you or COVID. Dealer's choice.
Oh my gosh, horrible. But yeah, that happened.
But it's also kind of crazy to think about if they really did release tens of thousands of prisoners, how many more like there are.
You mean like in prison?
Yeah.
Like how many people are in prison? Oh yeah, no, I have that number.
Oh, okay.
I think I I have some statistics.
Okay. That was my story.
Dang. Yeah. Super gnarly that's happening. And apparently happening here too. I'll have to find the article. 76,000 people released because of the medical concern. Same exact thing, but I think that sounds more severe, like in terms of easier like you have to slip through.
Yeah, this one is like you kind of had to be dying.
Yeah. And this one was like at risk of dying from COVID. Yeah, super, super interesting. Moral and ethic debates, right?
Yes.
Glad I don't have that job.
No.
Can you imagine? Man. So, Ranker.com has that list I was talking about of people who are currently living free from past murderers, exclusive of COVID or anything like that. And most of them I found which was interesting, was that they're from outside the United States. That's what I was going to say.
That my other two stories were from outside.
Yep. So the ones were most notable were Canada, which I was like, what? Oh. You think Canadians are so nice, but these guys prove them wrong. South Africa, the UK, and Norway. Those were like, again, not an exclusive list, but just in general, those are some of the people that were on this list. And then the ones that were in the US were either an accomplice to the crime. Typically, it's the wife or girlfriend giving info to reduce their sentence, like in exchange, or giving testimony in exchange to reduce their sentence, which actually, now that I think about it, I thought that was illegal, that you can't testify against your spouse unless maybe you're also committed a crime. And that makes more sense. What? You've never heard of that?
No.
That there's a law?
Well, there's the general law of like you don't have to incriminate yourself.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like part of it, because like when you're married, you're legally one.
It must be it. But there is a law about that. Like that you don't have to. Yeah, because I think
testify against your.
Because I think I would assume that your motive is to protect your spouse, so then they don't want to. They don't like probably trust your testimony. Maybe I'm wrong, but these ones, that's what happened. Trading info for reduced time. And then the other situation that I noticed were there were minors when they committed the crime. And then, so like I had one example, and yours were from outside the US. This one's from inside the US, where it was super sad. A school shooter named Mitchell Johnson, and he had an accomplice named Andrew Golden. They were, I think it was 13 and 11 at the
serious?
time. Yeah, super upsetting.
Jeez.
And they like killed a bunch of like students and teachers. I don't have all those details because I didn't go into it, but I was trying to make a point of like they have since been released at age 21.
I hope they got help.
Well, hopefully. So one of them is still living free. Mitchell Johnson, which a lot of these cases too, like they change their names, to give themselves like a different life and start over again. Again, hopefully he did get help. But his accomplice, Andrew Golden, died in a car accident in 2019.
Oh, wow.
So.
That's so young.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's like scary young. 100%. But yeah, so that's kind of the situation when people are getting, like, people who are living among us.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that could be, it's like a TV show. I'm living among us. I feel like that is a TV show.
It's a game.
Oh, you're right. I remember looking that up once and then not knowing what was going on when I was like, what? Among Us? What is this? I think it was like the intruder among us or this like killer among us, something like that. So I was trying to find something and then it was just that game and I'm like, what is this? This is interrupting my Google search. But yeah, and then I went into the concepts of repeat offenders.
Ooh.
And the time served in prison because, I can't resist those statistics and how horrible they are. Because here we like to talk about things that are frustrating and upsetting so that you can also get frustrated and upset. And then together we can collectively educate ourselves and hopefully someday something can happen about it. But for now, we're going to hear Katie's next story.
All right. So this is from the BBC.
BBC One, BBC Two.
All right. This is also a very recent article from September of last year.
Oy.
And it is called Colin Pitchfork, double child murderer released from prison. Here we go.
Double
child murderer.
I know, but that sounds okay. First of all, that's scary. But what does that mean? Like 2 children?
Yes. Let me tell you.
Okay.
He raped and killed 2 15-year-old girls, Linda Mann and Dawn Ashworth, in Leicester, UK, in 1983 and 1986.
Oh, no.
He pleaded guilty to both murders and was sentenced to life in prison in 1988. Currently, he is only 61 years old and supposedly met all of the parole criteria and was granted the parole at the end of last year. He has to follow, there's like, in the article, there's all these like things he has to do, like register with the local police wherever he lives. He can only live in a certain like area, and I think it's kind of like a halfway house or something where it's like run by
parole people.
And then he has to like tell them anytime, like anyone he talks to, and like if he's gonna rent a car, and has to submit to like random lie detector tests. There's all these things in place, and I'm like, why would you have to do this to someone who met all of the criteria?
Yeah.
And is like being released for good behavior.
But also when they're a murderer, like they already broke the rules. How do you know they're not going to break the rules again?
That's what it seems like. They're like, oh no, everything's fine. Tell us everything that you do.
Yeah.
Because he's only 61.
It's young.
And I don't know. I feel like, and this was, he raped and murdered, you're good, 2 teenage girls, 3 years apart. So it was obviously a pattern.
Yeah.
And I don't think those things go away.
No.
So that's also the other thing of this issue of like, I think you were kind of alluding to is like, what's the purpose of prison, and can certain people be quote unquote like fixed or have like actual help.
Rehabilitated.
Yeah, because can you rehab a serial rapist and murderer of young girls?
And
I don't know.
And how do you prove otherwise?
But
like, how do you like test that?
I mean, because he was sentenced to life in prison, and he did something in prison to be like, nah, you're good. You can leave.
Yeah, but
a lot of people were upset about that one.
Good, as they should be. And that's good that whoever was keeping tabs to let the public know.
But like, yeah, I feel like maybe for certain lesser crimes and like people are actually getting help, then like, yeah, maybe you deserve a second chance. But like multiple murders.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I would just be so scared.
Yeah. And a lot of those prison people, they get like in really good shape over time, which is really scary because they have nothing else to do.
Well, and that's what I'm like, that would be scary too. Like he has nothing to do except think about stuff. Yeah. Like what if he's like planning like, oh, I won't get caught this time.
Yeah. I know. It's terrifying. And that's why they have the parole people, but parole people are usually understaffed and they have so many other people to pay attention to. And I was even looking up like people in California, like, do we get notified as the public when someone is released like that? And the answer is no, we don't.
No, because in our neighborhood, you see parole people going to the houses.
I know. And so I looked it up and like so if we have to choose between like being notified or nothing, it's at least the victims' families or the survivors' families, victims or the survivors, who can request to get notified. They don't get automatically notified. They can submit an application to be notified. That's and so only annoying. If it's approved, then they will be informed. I know.
Wow.
Because there's also like, it's so awkward, I feel like, for parole officers where it's like their intention is to protect. They have two roles, right? It's like to protect the public from the parolee, but they also have to protect the parolee from the public. Kind of.
But then you go into the like, I mean, not for early release, but like people have served their time, then like they're supposed to have like completed their like
now you can go back to society.
Yeah, but we have to like
as a new person
check on you. But then it's like, I don't know.
It's very awkward.
Yeah. The whole point, like for those types of people, like the whole point is to like catch them messing up and send them back to jail.
Yeah. And I have that stat.
Oh, you do? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you seen Blind Spotting?
No.
Ooh, it's really good.
What's it about?
Wait,
let's just point this out that Katie's asking about me seeing a movie. What?
I mean, this really is a new year.
Yeah.
Started off this new season knowing a movie.
Yeah.
Or I guess it was a short series.
Same
thing. But now I have some movie knowledge to impart.
Yay.
It's kind of cool. It's a movie and now it's a series.
Okay.
So the movie is about two friends in Oakland and it's kind of about like the prison system and racism and gentrification.
Okay.
In the city, and it's very good.
Interesting.
And it's Raphael Casal and David Diggs, which it's kind of like
they kind of sound like rappers.
They are.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, and cool. The one was in Hamilton.
I like those names. So
yeah, David Diggs was Thomas Jefferson and Lafayette in Hamilton. That's how I found it. Because now I'm like,
it all circles back to Hamilton. This makes sense.
Yes, but they are both rappers, and it's kind of it's fictional.
I feel dumb saying that. I was like all witty, like those sound like rapper names. Like they are. Guess they're doing the good job.
No, but it's like it's fictional, but it's based on a lot of their experiences because they are two friends from Oakland who experienced a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very good. It's sad, but it's good. And now there's a Showtime, HBO, one of those streaming services, and they have created a series.
Is it called Blind Spotting?
Both of them are Blind Spotting.
Ah, interesting.
It's good.
Check it out. Thanks for the insider tip.
Yeah, it's kind of like the opposite of like how someone can get caught up in the system.
Yeah.
It's like that thing of like good, like what is a good person versus a bad person, and like
okay,
you know, just because someone maybe went to prison, like are they a bad person? It's kind of like
yeah,
it makes you question things.
I know. Because it's not black and white like that. Like it isn't just if you're in prison you're a bad person. And that's in it technically it's like you commit your crime, you do your time. And then you live your life as a free person again, but depending on that severity. Kind of like I always find it so fascinating when you hear about stories of people in prison where it's like maybe like they get housed together with different like people who've committed different types of crimes. And you know, there's a show I'm watching right now. I actually have a few different things I was gonna recommend. There's one on Amazon Prime called Tell Me Your Secrets, and I'm like in the middle of it. It's really good. You know Lily Rabe?
Who?
The actress Lily Rabe from American Horror Story. She plays like she's the blonde one, and she's like really intense.
I haven't seen. I'm too scared to watch it.
Oh, American Horror Story.
Yeah, I've seen like one episode.
Yeah, it is intense, the series in general. But anyhow, she's in a lot of the seasons. But she is well, we're finding out. I actually don't know. But long story short, again, her boyfriend, the premise is her boyfriend went to prison. She also did. But when she's in prison, it's for her boyfriend committed murders of women. Oh. Like very heinous, very horrible murders, like gruesome. And when she's in prison, the other women come up to her and are like, we have daughters. How dare you protect this man? Wow. And they beat the shit out of her because they're like, you're a bad person. Like you're protecting him. Like, so just because you didn't say you did it, you're also not giving up information. So they're still housed together. And everyone, and like in prison, I always find that fascinating too. Like how they have their own rules. They have their own rules, but they also learn each other's crimes. Like rumors spread quick, or I don't know how that all works, but it's so that concept too of like there is its own rule. Yeah, like prison system where like one crime, like they understand that one crime is better than another crime. And so they beat those people up, and those people end up needing protective custody, which is so ironic because they're the ones who are the bad people who deserve to be beat up. Not saying she does in this series because it's a very complex story. And so it's about her getting out of jail, changing her name, having to be a free person. She's going through the parole process. So it's actually, I was like, hey, this kind of fits what we're talking about. But there's like all these layers of secrets. Tell me your secrets. And then in parallel, there's also a story about, well, I don't want to give it all, but long story short, part 2. There's one of the suspected victims of that lady's husband, the one who's now free, or boyfriend. Sorry, it was her boyfriend at the time. The mother of one of the suspected victims, they never proved it, but she's trying to find her. The mom is now trying to find the parolee lady because she wants answers as to what happened to her daughter. And she has hired a former, now released parolee serial rapist.
What?
Yeah, because he came to the mom's program, who has like a program about like helping other survivors basically, and he's trying to change like other survivors' not survivors, but other victims' families who have missing daughters to help them get resources to do the searching for the daughters.
Oh wow.
So he brings himself to her and is like, I'm a changed person. I was a rapist, but I can help you provide insight as to what it means, like why women think they're safe and really they're not.
Ooh.
It's sketchy. And he's like, does a lot of meditation, and like, so he's like a changed person, quote unquote. But we're like, is he really changed? And so she ends up hiring him to contribute to finding her. So it's this whole, and then so we see inside his mind and like what he's doing to like use his like sketchy and like, you know, like tracking her down. Like it's, I don't know.
Tell Me Your Secrets.
Tell Me Your Secrets. Yeah, on Amazon Prime. So anyways,
That
all that kind of ties into what we're talking about like repeat offenders. I'm like, hey, that's a repeat offender. That's a repeat offender. Like parolees. So fascinating. And but I'm still halfway through it, so I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully it's a good show. So far, I'm totally hooked. I can't even help myself.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. Everybody check it out.
Oh, I just want to say one thing about Colin Pitchfork.
Yes.
He was the first convicted murderer based on DNA evidence.
What? Ever?
I don't know if like in the UK or ever, but the early 80s.
Whoa, that still blows my mind that it was only 30 years ago.
Well, that's like 40.
Late 80s.
Well, between the 80s and 90s is like 30 to 40 years.
Yeah. Well, I only know the timing because my husband's around that time in terms of being born. So,
okay.
Just saying. That's why I said that. No.
Because he's old.
Because he's old. No. For sure. It's still mind blowing that it was less than 50 years ago.
So think about that.
Yeah. Thank goodness for science advancements in all of that. That would be an interesting episode too. Like what is actually done to find people nowadays besides just like the DNA.
Like the science stuff?
Yeah, like the science stuff and fingerprints.
Like 23andMe.
Yeah, 23andMe. Like, are they selling our...
For sure.
Yeah. DNA.
Hope you don't want health insurance because they're going to use that.
That's what they say, but I wonder if that's for real. Kind of like how everyone's like, oh, Snapchat, like filters, but really it's not for fun. It's
facial.
Capturing your face.
I'm just saying, read the terms and conditions. Do I? No. But should we? Yes.
That is another good episode. Terms and conditions. What are they? What are they actually asking us for? Have you read our terms and conditions?
They're vast.
You must listen to the whole episode. Yeah.
It just won't pause.
Yeah.
Until it's done.
Yep. And then it prompts you to leave a nice review for every episode.
Please leave your review after the beep.
Beep. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, man. Yeah, so repeat offenders, which is kind of like off of that guy. And like now we just sit and wait and see if he does that again.
Yep.
And hope not. But also there's like name changes. So that would be kind of interesting. Like it's at the mercy of the parole officers. I think that's also an interesting thing. Parole officers just making the choices like, do I let this slide and give him a second chance? Or like send him back right away?
Yep. Because it'll be on you.
Yeah. I don't like that. That is why I'm not a parole officer.
No, thank you.
No, thanks. I was just going to say, I found this information on the California Innocence Project.org, which is a super helpful website. And I like it because it is obviously from the side of trying to prove those who are innocent, but it also has information for those who are clearly guilty. Like it has like a good, not clearly guilty, but it's like, it's more informative than like shoving information down your throat of like, this is our agenda. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like when people do that. They're very knowledgeable, as they should be. It's their job. Let's see. So I practice this. Recidivism.
Never heard of it.
Recidivism. I'm practicing.
Recidivism.
Yeah. A recidivist is a person released from prison who later commits another crime or reoffends, such as parole violation or the commission of a new crime.
Oh, they're commissioning them.
Well, they're committing them.
That sounds fancy.
Right? That's what a recidivist is.
Recidivist. Oh.
So, of course, so we're based in California. Big surprise.
Why is that a big surprise?
I don't know. I just wanted to say it. Big surprise. California. Maybe I said it at the wrong time.
Okay.
Big surprise. California has...
Okay, you're saying for the next sentence, not that we're from California.
Yeah, it's kind of both. Big surprise. We're from California, and California has one of the highest recidivism rates. In 2012, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation reported that more than 65% of men and women who are released from prison return within 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Of that 65%, 73% return within 1 year. So what are we doing wrong?
Well, it's the rules, I think, sometimes. Because I'll go back to the blind spotting thing. They did an interview and they were talking about that. Because, like, that's, like, kind of the premise of the one character. He's been released from jail and he's trying not to go back.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying, like, a real life example was someone they knew was released from prison and on parole. And they had to meet with their parole person... officer,
Parole
whatever
officer,
yeah, the person, and they were like going over the rules and like, you can't do this, you have to stay here, you have to check in like this many times, blah blah blah. And because he was moving counties, and so like that's like a big deal for parolees, so you have to like, so he's kind of, that was what the meeting was about. So like the person was kind of going over the rules in the new county because they can be different. So that's another thing, like if you cross county lines. And that he was like leaving, and just kind of like out of the blue, the parole officer was like, "Do you have a dog?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "But it's not a pit bull, right?" And he's like, "No, it is." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, you can't have them when you move to the other county because that's a violation of your parole if you are seen walking the pit bull." So it's like things like that where like you have to and that's California.
Yeah.
So that's like something you have to think about too when it's like that high of a return rate to prison. It could be because someone was walking their pit bull.
Yeah, and I wonder if like that mentality goes into like, oh, what if it bites someone and then you're not legally able to like.
I know, but that's also discriminating against
pit
dogs.
I know. Like, there's such a huge discrimination against pit bulls from like homeowners, like insurance and renters.
Some countries don't allow you to have them.
So insane.
It's sad.
It's not fair. Pit bulls? I wonder if that's really if that's truly a thing. I feel like it's not. It's the people raising them.
Yep.
But like, you know how they say like murderers have the warrior gene? Wonder if pit bulls, I'm just saying, not that they like, if it becomes activated, if there's around something in there, by bad people who obviously, but also that's just like behavioral anything. If you treat any dog bad, they're going to be ferocious. I love pit bulls personally, so I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
But dang. Wow. Yeah. And then there was another report that found that, and this kind of goes into what you were saying, that 33% of all prison admissions nationwide are due to parole violations. So a third of the people coming back, or a third of the people coming in, are actually coming back.
Yep. You gotta make money, baby.
It's
privatization.
It's so weird. And by weird, I mean frustrating, horrible, not cool. Like something's happening that's right, but it's also not 100% right.
Yes.
Like, are we that bad as people?
Well, that's my whole thing. I'm like, are we like really? Like, that's just, and then especially if you look at like the statistics of like race.
Yeah.
It's like very skewed. And then it's like, so you're telling me that, like, what, you know, I mean, if we don't like go down that path.
No, I'm just, the reason I'm making that face is that like, not to not go down that path. It's more, I'm sharing your frustration, and it's a lot of the crimes are associated with like lower income neighborhoods or areas or the people themselves. And then those particular like cops obviously are targeting, or like the people who are going to jail are being targeted for certain lower end crimes that you're just not going to see in other neighborhoods because that's just less prevalent, like drug use or whatever. But that goes back to the whole drug use concept, right? I feel like we either need to make it extremely like severe sentencing where people don't want to use drugs, but once they're already, there is like a drug jail, like its own.
Yeah, that's not
like a rehab, but like an actual rehab drug jail, because it's kind of like alcoholism.
it's
same
not
kind of
look
concept.
yeah,
Like,
because
you can't just
addiction is
fix it.
addiction. So
Yes.
why is one like looked at more like kindly, like, oh, like we need to help people with alcoholism, like that's sad.
Yeah.
But then drug use is like, oh, you need to go to jail.
Right. And then there's also drug dealers, which are a different beast,
yeah,
they should go to jail.
Well, and that's
because most of them are clean.
Yeah.
From what I've understood, or the people who make the drugs. Yeah.
And then not to mention the opioid addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fentanyl spiking and all that. It's, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, kind of like what we were pointing at earlier, it doesn't make sense to have all of these, like if we're going to privatize prison anyways, at least make them like, this is going to sound like it's the wrong word, but I'm just going to say it, like boutique prisons where it's like are specialized, where it's like, this is a prison for drug users. This is a prison for like murderers, and this is a prison for white collar crimes, as they call them, where it's like fraud, and then we use their brains and say, hey,
yeah, because
now you have to work for the
labor.
government and like figure out where our loopholes are. I don't know, like there's ways to do this, and I think it's like that thing where when things have gone wrong for so long, like the prison system and just like our laws of our state or nation, like they're not keeping up with the changing times. Mind you, we are like evolving as a people so much quicker, like mentally and acceptance wise. I think probably faster than ever before, I feel like.
Yeah. And then it's really hard to change laws.
It's super hard to change laws, but they're like on a local level. I don't know. I'm not a policymaker, so obviously it's way easier for me to say it as like a layperson. But wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah, and I feel like it all ties to like money and power. But if you want to keep them private, then maybe because that's the whole thing. Is like, what is prison for? Is it to like, and then you just said like the title, it's California Corrections and Rehabilitation.
Right.
So where's the rehabilitation coming from?
Yeah.
If 70-something% of people are going back to jail, like there's obviously an issue there.
Yeah.
Because they're getting released. So it's obvious. I would not knock on wood. I would hope that they're not like the serial killers and
they're
super
mostly
bad people.
not, yeah.
So then, like, how are you helping those people?
And that's why I was thinking it would be better to have like those specific I feel like a lot of it is drug related.
Well, and I think too, like what you said, it's a lot of poverty. Because I was just listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can't feed your family. Oh, it was My Favorite Murder. They did the Atticus prison uprising. And they were talking about one person specifically who was at a maximum security prison for writing $120 check fraud or wire transfer fraud. Yeah. So then it's like, because like you can't feed your family, you're gonna like do what you can, and whether or not it's legal, like you're gonna try to put food on the table,
right?
So, but then you go to prison for that, and then you're gonna still come out poor, and now it's gonna be even harder to find a job. Yeah. So like, how are you gonna like go on the straight and narrow? So
yeah, there's
a lot of things that feed into it, but I feel like we just solved it.
Yeah. Boom. Done. No problem.
Because
next.
Well, then that's the thing of like some other countries, like I think Norway or like some of the Nordic countries, they are very, very, very focused on the rehab part for people that are obviously helpable. Yeah. And I feel like psychology is advanced, like where we have learned a lot about serial killers and like narcissists, or not narcissists.
Yeah, they're all
like sociopaths, or like I feel like we would maybe be able to tell like who can and can't be fixed. I mean, and fix is not the right word.
Repaired,
rehabilitated.
Yeah, corrected.
Yeah, because there's a difference between some like a Jeffrey Dahmer or someone, versus like someone who is addicted to drugs. I think we can help people that are addicted to drugs. Yeah.
Yeah. And like redefining what it is to rehabilitate. And they do have programs and they do have people working these jobs. But at the end of the day, what I always think it comes kind of down to is funding.
Like, yeah, why aren't we funding that more? I would gladly pay my taxes to that.
more than and but then the people are like, well, what about education?
Education and well, I mean that could be like you could fall under education.
Yeah.
Because then if you have your education, then people probably won't fall into the prison
system. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole it all is money. And that's where I get frustrated with all the billionaires of this world. Like, why not, if you want to help the world,
which I don't think they do.
And I get that they've earned what they've earned because they've worked hard, blah, blah, blah. Good for you. However, if you want to change the world, there is more to it than venturing elsewhere.
On your rocket ship.
On your rocket ship. Like the movie Don't Look Up. Have you seen that?
No, I don't know if I can handle it.
It's a good movie.
Okay.
I heard mixed things like that it's very political, but I think if you just take it for what it is, which is, it probably is it is political, but like if you just don't get caught up in that part of it, like I think more conservative people get upset about it because it's like they're poking fun at that other side. But who gives a crap? It's still all very true, like what the movie is about. It's a giant satire.
That's what, yeah.
Giant satire. And it's true and it's sad and it's funny all at the same time. You should watch it.
Yeah, I have it on the list, but I was like, I don't know if I could handle.
Leonardo DiCaprio is fantastic.
Oh, really?
And so is, oh my gosh, what's her name?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Wow, good job.
Thank you.
They work well together. I actually really like her look in that movie, but yeah. Dang. Highly recommended.
Okay, I'll add it.
For sure. Where were we going with that? Oh, billionaires come back from outer space. You say that this world is unrepairable. It's not.
Yeah, I feel like having that defeatist attitude is not helpful.
They're like, let's look elsewhere. It's like, we're still here.
Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, we're too fucked.
Yeah.
Like, let's just forget about it. It's like, no, we can, it doesn't need to be like a huge thing.
No.
What's the saying? Like, we don't need one person doing everything perfectly. We need like all the people doing like one thing. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it really doesn't have to be so extreme.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I wish there was an increase in pay for things, because if there was an increase in pay, maybe government programs would be better and there'd be more like people actually want to do their job properly and want to do rehabilitation. And I don't know. It feels like money fixes everything in some way, but also why does it cost so much to do these things at the same time?
Mm-hmm. It costs more to do what I feel like is the right thing.
Yeah.
But then I feel like because those, like I would say with healthcare, like because people make money off of people being sick, people make money off of people going in and out of prison. Like
jobs are created off of that. Yeah.
If you can prevent cancer or prevent disease, then pharmaceutical companies are going to go out of prison or out of... I was already on to the next sentence. They're gonna run out of money.
Yeah.
If private prisons lose their prisoners because we have found ways to rehab them, then like I didn't look this up, but from like some documentary I was watching, like there's a high percentage of things that are manufactured in America by prisoners, and it's not just like your license plates. It's furniture for like Walmart. It's like all these things.
And they get paid like
pennies.
Zilch.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting. Now we have cheap labor.
And they work the fields still in certain farmland areas. So why,
I mean, picking up our trash is good, but doing that.
Oh, and they are wildfire fighters.
I've heard that. That's
in California.
Sad.
And the sad part is you don't want to talk about rehab. Those people, like, first of all, have to be like, they're very well vetted and very well trained, and they risk their lives. And then when they get out of prison, they can't apply to be a firefighter because they're convicted.
That is sad. So. But at this, it's all very, there's always in like, if, but, don't be, but, I don't know. It's complex.
Mm-hmm.
And we still try to talk about it because we care.
Yeah.
Ugh. Caring's hard.
I know, it sucks.
I'd
rather just be on my rocket ship to the moon.
I know.
Degaffing it,
right? Oh man.
And that's why good people need money so that they can do good things with their money.
Right. Yeah. There should definitely, I wish there was more drive. Like, right now there's like a big push for like STEM in like for education and such and such. Why don't they push for kids to learn about policy and like laws and government and
because ignorance,
history? Like there's so much more. Like I like STEM obviously, but I feel like it's not that STEM is missing. I feel like it's all the subjects are missing. And they're pushing more towards
not teaching it.
Yeah. Or they're pushing for like science and everything else, but we still need people to be policymakers and influential besides influencers. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
It's like the 70-year-old and 80-year-old like legislators think that they'll be in power forever.
Yeah.
So like let's keep the general public ignorant.
Yeah. And I know what I'm so bad. AOC. Yeah. AOC, a lot of people, especially older folks, are not fans of her, but good for her for being like the new age influencer, policymaker, you know, stepping up.
It really pisses me off.
Have some opinion
when like my dad like talks trash on her and it's like, oh, so a woman my age with a degree in the things that she's talking about should not be listened to. So you're saying I shouldn't be listened to when I talk about science? She has her degree in economics.
Yeah.
From a very well-established university. So that's just kind of like, you can pick and choose, but then you're talking shit to your own daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. And we're not here to discuss politics, but the concepts, being
like just, I'm not even going to listen to her because she's too young and doesn't know anything. And she's a woman.
Yeah. And the fact that if we want things to change, you have to talk about things that will change.
Or just have
make changes.
Have someone that's like maybe a little more connected to reality and not like some billionaire who's been in politics their whole lives.
Yeah. And if you follow the money of all these people, like,
dude,
I was just talking about this with my husband, like how even like a lot of these, I won't say names, but really famous, well-known politicians, males and females, if you can track what they invest their money in.
Dude, I was just gonna say, and like, how is that not illegal?
Because they know people. That's insider trading, and so they all of a sudden put like 50% of their stock funds into a specific stock, and you're like, this is
and then like there was a more recent article just in general of all of like they listed all the politicians and like their investments, but then there was a big like article about how all these people before COVID hit started divesting or investing in things, and it was known and like they could trace it, and there's like, okay,
whoops,
like we're like, what are they gonna like, we're not gonna tattle on ourselves or like make laws harder for ourselves so that we can't do it anymore.
Where's the SEC in these cases? And then like they can control what the laws of the SEC. So then there you go. It's what do you call that?
Is it quid pro quo?
Yeah, that is.
Or it's like I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back.
That's quid pro quo, but that's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something along like conflict of interest. Oh my gosh, that hurt.
Yeah, I feel like maybe you shouldn't be allowed to stock or like actively. I don't know.
Like, can you be a politician and a human at the same time? The answer is no.
No. Not the way our stuff is set up with lobbies and you can make all this money. And
I know.
Like, it will just donate to your campaign if you don't sign this bill.
I mean, lobbying can be its own episode alone. We'll do that another time. I just wanted, do you want to, or do you want me to? I have the time served in prison report. From the U.S. Department of Justice.
Oh, is this DOG or BJ's?
Yeah, it is. It's bjs.ojp.gov. Yeah,
we love a good bjs.gov.
Yeah. Oh man,
throwing it back.
And just like time served in state prison before first released by serious offense. So like murderers served an average time of 15 years.
I'm sorry, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that because then they are no longer with us, or because they get released?
Great question.
They get released to
this
heaven
includes non-negligible manslaughter.
What's that?
I think non-negligible manslaughter. I'm just saying it again so I can remember. Manslaughter is like accidental killing.
But non-negligent,
so
like maybe hitting someone.
Negligent is like done.
Like if I hit someone with my car for not paying attention,
right?
That's negligent manslaughter,
right? So non-negligent means like
oopsies,
on purpose,
but not
adjacent. On purpose adjacent.
It was an on purpose accident.
That's so sad. Non-negligent manslaughter. The willful killing of a human being by another.
Willful.
This is from the police.
The police.
It's called band? Police. UMBC. I don't know what that is.
British Columbia.
Oh, maybe. Any death caused by the gross negligence of another. In other words, it's something that a reasonable and prudent person would not do.
Non-negligent manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's also a lot of interesting descriptions in here that I don't want to go into. Anyways, that's that.
Okay.
But and then there's negligent manslaughter. They only serve about 5.2 years on average. Rape or sexual assault, 6.2 years. Robbery, 4.7 years. Assault, 2.5 years. And then other violent crimes, 3.1 years.
I'm sorry. Wait, violent crimes?
Other violent. So what's that say? E. Includes kidnapping, blackmail, extortion, hit and run with injury, and other unknown violent offenses. I know.
Well, that's not great.
It's not great. Oh, here we go. And then gets better. Burglary.
Okay.
26 years.
Well,
larceny, theft, 17. Motor vehicle theft, 17. This is years, right?
I would.
Time served in prison.
Messed up.
Excludes time served in jail.
That should be flippy flopped.
You would. One would think.
Like, yeah, is it wrong to steal a car? Yes. Are you hurting someone doing that? No, because you would be in the violent crime section. So violent crimes average 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Auto theft is 17.
Yeah. And then drug possession is 15.
Are you serious?
If there's a good one here, trafficking is 26.
Okay.
So that's a plus. Other drugs are 20.
Is that drug trafficking or human trafficking?
I think drug trafficking.
Okay.
And then others 23 years, which includes forging prescriptions, possession of drug paraphernalia, and other unspecified offenses. So that's probably the majority. Like I would guess a lot of those.
And they're getting the highest sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. Weapons is 24 years.
Just having them or like you using them?
I don't know. And then
well, that would be in the violent category, right?
You would think. And then other public orders. These are public orders, which includes DUIs, court offenses, commercialized vice, morals, decency offenses, liquor law violations, and other public.
That sounds like it would be a lot of them.
Yeah. And the percent of releases overall from this list, 28% of 28.7 were violent offenders
that were released.
27.4 are property related, and then 24 are drug related. 18% were the public order ones. So it kind of is split across the board. I would wish it was weighed a little more heavily on the again. So it's like,
that's weird.
Is this a statistic you're trying to fill, or is it like what is that? Where does that number? And this is a really interesting report. We'll have it on our website, and they break everything down. It's like a 7-page report.
Yeah, that website is very good for the different like criminal stats and stuff.
Oh, they break it down for the violence. So, like, the average sentence by length and percent of sentence served before release date. For murder, it's 40.6 years.
Okay.
And then let's see, it says includes non-negligent manslaughter. So, on average, 40.6 before actually being released.
Years.
Then what was I looking at before?
Well, that's the thing with averages.
Oh, because it was time served in
everything.
state prison, but didn't include jail time.
Oh.
Because apparently there's a difference.
So what's the difference?
But still.
Interesting. Well, that was kind of a bummer.
It's all very, very weird. Sentences of more than 100 years and life or death sentences are set to 100 years. But like, it has like a lot of different breakdowns and like how they collected this data, blah, blah, blah. So just thought that was interesting.
Huh. I would have thought it would have been flippy flopped, but
yeah. But no, it seems to be even across the board. Why is that? I don't know. I don't like it.
Well, it seems like it's even because the violent crimes are averaging less sentencing.
Right.
So it would make up for the higher release.
Yeah. And I feel like in general, there were a lot, that's another episode, but a lot of like murders in the 80s versus now it's different. It's shifted from like seemingly more serial killers to more like gang related or relationship related kind of crimes. Maybe I'm biased because I listen to episodes of podcasts who just talk about the ones that are, what do you call, sensationalized,
or like the exceptions.
Yeah. No, because
prison is not full of serial killers and
no,
the like really awful people you hear about. They are there.
And if you're not feeling unsettled enough, go back and listen to that episode where we talked about all the people who are living among us, free, unsolved murders.
Yes.
That'll help you sleep at night.
Yeah. That was my last thing.
Oh, tell us.
I feel like this is getting long, but I'll just real quick, because that's what was coming up for me when I was Googling this, was like unsolved serial killers. And this one looked very interesting. And it's from a website called Serial Killer Shop, which is, I feel like, an issue of like fan, like girling or boying over like serial killers.
Yeah.
There's like that kind of is weird. But the article is called 9 Currently Active Serial Killers, Unsolved Cases in 2022. And this one sounded interesting because I had not heard of it, and it's called the Jefferson Davis 8 Killers, which, like, let's also stop naming counties after Confederate people, but that's another story too. Between 2005 and 2009, 8 women's bodies between the ages of 17 and 30 were found dumped in the swamps of Jefferson Davis Parish, which is near Jennings, Louisiana.
Oy.
So, and then there's a mini-series documentary on Showtime called Murder in the Bayou, and after reading this, I started watching it last night.
I feel like I've heard of that, which actually is interesting because the show that I'm talking about earlier, Tell Me Your Secrets, is in Louisiana, in the swampy.
What?
That's where she is, at least.
And I feel like this one has the potential that it goes all the way to the top, like Georgia says. So it says that all these women have several things in common. They most of them knew each other in some way or the other, and 2 of them were cousins. They were known to be drug users and sometimes sex workers, but the weirdest thing, and I think this is going to be the twist later on in the docuseries, is that they all acted as police informants. So, and they're all unsolved. Nothing's been found. So the idea is like, was it someone in law enforcement?
Or was someone, like, what were they informing on?
And why is because there's like
and why are they protecting them?
The way I feel like I don't know if they're gonna do a twisty-roo because they're kind of setting it up to be like the local drug dealer guy, and the first episode ends with him because no one's been charged with these murders, and he was like, I never did anything, blah, like very like serious, and that's how like the first episode ends. And there's like kind of a like alluding to like something weirder's going on.
So is it actually based on those murders, like for real?
No, it's a documentary.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I feel like, yeah, I need to watch it because I think is it on Netflix or where is
this? This is Showtime.
Showtime.
So I just only watched the first episode. But because I haven't really been into true crime as much, but this one kind of caught my attention.
Yeah. I went from like 0 to 80 and I'm like, I'm sleeping, but it's definitely something that you need to categorize and put into that little box in your brain, separate from everyday life, or else you start stressing out about things that are stressful.
Yeah.
But you have to also live your everyday life. And that's why we podcast. So we can put this in our box. This is our box. Welcome to our box.
Oh, no.
What? Does that sound bad? What's that? Why is that bad? No, tell me why. Do I need to learn something?
You gonna learn?
Oh, no. What am I going to learn?
Box is used as a euphemism for female genitalia. You've never heard?
Welcome to our box. Put your suggestions in the suggestion box. Yeah. Suggestion box. Okay, but no. Welcome to our nightmare. No, I don't know what this is. Our outlet.
Yeah.
Where we plug things in. Also a euphemism.
Yeah. Plug it in.
Euphemism nation over here. Yeah. I do have a plug it in my room where my cat is.
Nice.
His box smells quite nice. Oh man, that wasn't even on purpose. I meant cat box, like a litter box. Anyways.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that an allusion to that show or is there a story?
That was just I just didn't want to
yeah.
That's just kind of the general gist of it.
So the serial killer is, what do they call that on the go?
On the lam?
No, I was gonna say, I'm always at a loss for words when I record. I don't know why.
Avoiding justice.
Out there.
He is out there, yes.
There's another one.
Free.
On the
on the lam is the term.
I don't like that. I don't want to picture him on a lamb.
It's not on a lamb.
Ew.
It's LAM.
Oh. Largenet.
Oh, is it an acronym?
It has to be.
On the lam. Ooh.
Lamb, large, and
murderous.
Large. No. That's what I was trying. That was the phrase I was trying to come up with. Not to make up, but what's that phrase? At large. Oh my gosh. Right? At large?
Mm-hmm.
At large.
I wonder if that...
I'm so proud.
Excuse me. I'm going to find out. On the lamb.
Love Angel Music, baby? I mean, do you know Gwen Stefani? Lamb? Yeah. Okay, not that one.
Ooh. It's a heated dispute among slang entomologists.
Ooh.
Etymologists.
Slang bug people.
On the lam means running away or being a fugitive from the law. But the origin of the expression is heated dispute.
Ooh.
That is from the New York Times.
Fiery.
So there you go. No one knows.
Things no one cares about.
But except for etymologists, and they're fired up about it.
I'd love to meet someone who's fired up about that.
Like, what do you do as an etymologist? Do you just write the dictionary?
History, constantly finding books. Where did this word first get used? That would be hard.
That would be fun. You just work at the Library of Congress.
That sounds horrible.
Okay. Yeah, totally.
Katie's dream job. Etymologist researcher. Mm-hmm. My nightmare.
Well,
we're the yin and the yang.
Someone has to do it, I guess.
For sure. Not me. You can do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to add as the last closer is a couple other shows / movie. Movie is, have you seen The Shot Collar on Netflix?
No.
Fascinating, really good movie. It was I don't know his name as an actor, but it's the actor who played the brother, the blonde dude in Game of Thrones. Jamie Lannister.
Oh.
Jamie Lannister.
Yeah, I don't know who the actor's name is.
But you know his face.
Yeah.
It's him. And I'm like, whoa, it's weird to see him be like not Jamie Lannister.
Mm.
And long story long, a dude who goes to prison and then gets out. And so it's that thing too of like what people actually like, the bad, what is good, what is bad, what are the motives, how does that all tie together. Definitely worth a watch. It's very gruesome.
What's it called?
The Shot Collar.
Shot collar?
Like he calls the shots.
Got it. I didn't know if you said shock.
I know, like the collar.
Yeah.
No, shot collar. Like
on Netflix.
On Netflix.
Got it.
And then the other show, besides Tell Me Your Secrets, that I was going to mention, and it's very old, is called The Following. Have you heard of that?
I feel like I've heard of it. I have not seen it.
You probably heard it from me a long time ago, but it's an old show. I think it's since been discontinued. It's about a dude who used to be a cult leader, gets rehabilitated, gets released from jail. What do you think happens?
Oh,
becomes a cult leader again. Hence the name The Following.
Is it a documentary or
no?
Drama?
It's a drama.
Okay,
but that brings me to the other show that I was watching in terms of cults because I was like, they're all connected and it's freaking me out. Have you seen Archive 81 or heard of it?
I've not heard of that either.
It's on Netflix. Super gnarly. Also mind twisty, which makes me want to end my thoughts on cults are effing scary, and I think have all the scariest elements combined of all things freaky. Because it's humans controlling other humans to kill other humans, and sometimes summoning demons. Which is not ideal.
Yeah.
And like summoning a higher power. So it's like all the scary things in one place. And it's real because these things are really happening.
Yeah. Just say no to cults, everyone.
Yeah. No thanks. If you can help it.
Oh.
A cult against cults.
Ooh. We are telling you what to do.
Welcome to our cults. Anyways, that's it for today. That was like a doozy. My brain was like there. That was hard to keep.
Yeah, we did it a lot.
Yeah, and that's okay.
That's good.
That's what we do.
It's a discussion.
Yeah, and also it's not meant to be. We don't have the answers.
Nope.
We have suggestions, but we don't have the answers.
Yeah, is there like a national suggestion box?
I think it's called voting.
Ooh. I like it.
Not that it goes anywhere, just like any other suggestion box, but who knows?
We shall run.
Welcome
to
our announcement.
But we have to wait a little bit. We're not old enough.
Wow. That's crazy.
For president.
But we're the presidents of our own podcast. So let's start.
Our lives.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool. Thank you for listening this week.
Thank you for being a friend.
To us, we love to talk to you.
Yep.
We're not quite at the I love you part yet, but because we're still like warming up, but you know, the love's there. Yeah, we're working our way. We're working our way downtown, podcasting, and we're not paranoid.
That's all we have for you.
Yeah, that's all we have for you. See you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.